This episode of The Young Turks brought to you by Squarespace.
Go to squarespace.com/TYT and get a 2-week trial for free.
Representative Bill Posey, a Republican from Florida, and he will defend the oil companies no matter what happens. Now, what the Democrats have been doing, what I've been doing, is pressing on oil subsidies, okay? Now, we got a new segment on my MSNBC show at 6 o'clock Eastern every day, check it out, that is called Rig Game. And every day we talk about how we give at least $4 billion in subsidies to the oil companies every single year and how little sense it makes. Every day we give a new fact about it and how unbelievably stupid it is and how we can spend that $4 billion on the American people instead. And the Democrats have been on board for this and fighting. Ed Markey was on driving this issue on the show a couple of weeks ago. And they've been saying it on the floor of the House. It's all very good, right? That's smart. Look at me giving credit to the Democrats. And Posey is bothered by it, so he's going to come on and defend the oil companies here and say at least two nonsensical things. But this defense is fun, so let's watch.
Congressman Webster and I were walking past the rear of the chamber, and we looked at each other kind of funny after former comments and thought we were walking by a set for comedy hour. I mean, I think I really heard somebody allude to the fact that we need more government regulation, and for sure we need more taxes on the oil companies. Those evil oil companies, the answer to all our problems is to tax them more. As if the members of this body and the public is stupid enough to think that at the end of the year, those big oil companies are just going to write a check for an extra $1 zillion. Let's say we tax those evil oil companies another $1 a gallon. They're not going to write the check. We know what's going to happen. They're going to raise the price $1 a gallon. Or, given the corporate greed we sometimes see, round it off to $2 a gallon. Corporations don't pay taxes. Corporations collect taxes. They collect taxes from consumers who ultimately pay the tax. You add a tax to a product, and the consumer's going to pay more.
Let's give Jim just a minute.
It doesn't pass a straight face test, and I wish we would quit, as the gentleman from Texas said, quit trying to play pin the tail on a donkey. We know corporations don't pay taxes. Consumers pay taxes. Corporations just collect it.
That's awesome. Under that logic, we should never have a corporate tax rate because they would always pass it on to the consumer. All Posey's trying to do is protect the consumer. He says that he's against corporate greed. Wink. So under his rationale, corporations, in order for the consumer to be protected, should never pay any taxes. Somebody's got to pay taxes so the government can work. That means you pay the taxes. So it's better for the middle class to pay the taxes than the oil companies, which is, of course, absurd. Corporations should pay taxes. They do pay taxes. Oftentimes they don't because of people like Congressman Posey, which back up their oil subsidies. So this is him defending giving away giant amounts of taxpayer money to the oil companies because what difference would it make anyway? By the way, taxes are paid on profits. Do you understand that? So it's not like, hey, they charge $3 at the tank, so they must have cost them $3. So if they pay taxes on that, they're going to have to raise it to $4. Look, can they pass some of their costs on to the consumers? Of course, right? And they often do. But they got to make a profit at some point. That's the whole point of the business. When they make a profit, you charge a tax on it. That's how it's worked forever. But now Republicans don't like that because they're paid by the oil companies to protect the oil companies. By the way, has Posey taken money from the oil companies? Of course he has. It's documented. So him pretending to be neutral and against corporate greed here and just looking out for the consumers is a joke. His rationale makes no sense whatsoever. Under the Posey principle, only you would pay taxes, corporations never would.
If you want to build a website or a blog, where do you go? You go to squarespace.com.
Squarespace just pushed a brand new social widget for geolocation services. Display your most recent check-ins from Foursquare, Gowalla, and Facebook Places on a live Google map. Go to squarespace.com/TYT and get a 2-week trial for free.